issue. Sad that 90%.
Hold on.
I am going to formally call the meeting of the December 10th, 2024 Community and Economic Development Committee for the Town of Yarmouth to order. This is to formally advise that as required by Mass General Law and pursuant to Chapter 30A, subsections 18 through 25, pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, extended in 2023. The Yarmouth Community and Economic Development Committee will hold a public meeting on Tuesday, December 10th at the Town Hall offices. The public is welcome to attend in person or via the alternative public access provided on the meeting notice on the website. First up is special events. Well, do you just want to have Mary go first and she's here?
Karen, does that mean
Sure.
that there's someone waiting?
No, it's, there's someone in the audience.
Oh.
So
understood.
no, neither Peter nor Joe Gibbs
Right.
were able to be here today.
Mary, since you're here, do you want to come up and we'll talk chamber stuff first?
Sure. No reason to make you just sit there.
Well, and that's mostly the mucks. So,
Mostly the muck stuff.
yeah,
You want to do it while you're here?
Also do what?
sure.
The muck
The
stuff?
muck stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna start with number 4 and move the muck stuff up.
What a name.
I-
Unbelievable. Talk about mucking things up.
Run amok,
Run amok.
January.
All right, so, if I could
Yeah,
just
sure.
run through a little
Yes.
bit.
Sure.
Thank you. So, the assistant town administrator, distributed this memo, which everybody should have received, I think, directly, and then as part of the packet, just last week, I think. And, there are a number of teams. It's a team concept. And there's a housing team, an economic development team with CEDC and the chamber being the lead. There is, let's see,
There you are.
I can't remember it all.
Right, they're right there.
I know, but I like the table better. I can read it. Recreation, education, open space and water supply, municipal social services. The planning board is on this list. The planning board doesn't have a dedicated team, but the planning board has reviewed the memo and their members have kind of self-selected to attend one of each of the groups that are listed here. You can see here comprising the teams. The housing has housing trust, the housing committee, housing staff, community development, recreation is called out. I saw Scott Gilmore today, Mary, and I didn't think to ask him if he was included in that. Economic tourism is CEDC in the chamber, school department, open space is the open space committee, the conscom and the water department. And then municipal social services, I think it's mostly the community services like the senior center, the library, and whatnot. I've met with my team. We haven't had one main like kickoff meeting with all of the MUC staff. But I met with my team. I met with Mary, Wagan, Kathy, Brittany, and myself, and we've got a little system. We're gonna just keep each other informed. I have copies of, I'm now getting copied on everything that they get, so we can kind of stay coordinated a little bit.
So sorry for you.
The gist
So
of it.
many emails.
So after the memo, and the memo is a little dense. I read it a few times, and my understanding is there's 3 deliverables kind of, and the groups can be varied. And Mary and I had a good conversation on Friday, starting to talk about how the 2 groups might want to proceed. You can certainly invite other people to participate. There's 3 main deliverables. First is have a meeting and it's a brainstorming meeting. And any of your economic development, tourism ideas for the site, we just throw them out there, document them, itemize. That's called meeting 1, run amok. And we're supposed to do that in January. Meeting 2 is reconciliation. What's hot? That's hot sauce. What's not? Rice cakes. It took me a while to get
I
it.
love a rice cake, but okay.
And anyways, I think that the idea there is that we go through the laundry list of ideas and we put together 3 priorities
Mhm,
Out of our subgroup.
out of our subgroup.
mhm.
And then the meeting 3 in March is kind of picking a favorite and coming up with two levels of that program. I think he,
Elevated and moderated.
yeah, elevated and
Moderate.
moderate. I think though, Joe, like, there's like, when I read this memo, and this is basically the kind of conversation Mary and I had. Let me see if I can find it. That little table that I pulled up first
That one.
here, it kind of, I feel like this gives some additional guidance. So under economic tourism, look for a project with economic ripple impact opportunities for more hotel and restaurant businesses.
It kind of, I'll keep my mouth shut.
I'll take note, so, and I'd suggest, I'll take notes, and if you guys wanna, present some questions back in response to this, I think it's totally fine, that's, the planning board reviewed it, they asked questions. There's questions.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Understand the economic impact versus the project cost, establish destination level options. Look toward filling economic facility gaps in the region, coordinate with recreation where applicable. So I think that's a little bit of guidance in there, but I think that other ideas are certainly welcome. I think the beginning, that muckabout meeting, is really just whatever your ideas are, we write them down and go from there.
What happened to the pre-study?
The what?
The pre-study.
So there's, I don't know if it's here, Joe, I can, there is,
Explain what that is, Joe.
What's that?
The pre-study, what
Yeah.
was supposed to be done?
yeah, I don't know.
I'm
if
not
this
aware
is-
of that.
Hold on, let me see if,
Bill had presented a pre-study, or he had presented a draft of a pre-study
I think that there's.
before the muck got appointed.
So you're talking a few months ago when he presented to. the
At this
select
point, it
board?
was many months ago.
Yeah.
He presented to the select board.
Yeah.
Because that I thought was to serve as the framework for these future discussions that are now front and center.
I think we're just starting over.
I think so.
it
I
kinda
think
seems
what
like
happened,
it.
my opinion, you got a lot of feedback that why weren't we included from a lot of groups and people around the community, and they said, okay, this is getting out of hand, we gotta, we reinvent this whole thing again, so. I think again, I'm surmising right now, so if somebody knows.
So actually, at that meeting of the select board, I think I was there.
I was there too.
Yeah, I believe the select board themselves said that they wanted a committee established
Mhm.
of several different parts of the community so that there was
So they
good
were
input.
getting feedback.
If I remember correctly, and correct me if you remember differently, Mary, there was a conversation about going back to a white piece of paper.
Clean
And,
slate.
and yeah, but I think that it was misunderstood because I don't want to belabor this. Bill's pre-study was supposed to give us a jumping off point and sort of stipulate to some of the things that we already know that we need or that we want. And then they said, no, we want to go back to a white piece of paper.
I mean, I think,
I would just love
My-
to see it. I would love to see
right,
it.
so there is a website.
I have a copy.
Page on the website, and there's a link to it in the email, the follow-up email that Bill had sent out.
Oh, there is?
Yep, and
Okay,
this is
sorry.
what the website looks like, so there's a bunch of old material there.
Yeah.
The new Mattakese zoning analysis is up there, that Kathy put together, it was a quick kind of existing conditions report identifying some of the constraints that are on the site. My understanding is we are also contracting out to get a even more detailed site plan.
Well,
Um,
that, is that the consultant he's referring to in phase 3 or whatever the phase was there?
I'm not sure about the phases, but I think he has at least 2 consultants coming up, Steve.
All right,
But Kathy did put this together, which is pretty nice. It just shows you where the buildings are, where the solar panels are. It doesn't illustrate really the football field. There's also the pond. There are a couple of, so between this pond and this wetland, at least initially, and this one, there's some, wetlands on site that are gonna need to be considered going forward.
How many
Okay.
acres total?
70.
Which one?
70? Um,
So this memo first is asking us to pick our 3 meeting dates and get back to the muck on that, so they know when to
Yeah.
send their
I think that,
people. Give us our
no, I
liaison.
mean, I don't know who the liaison
Well,
is. I
yeah.
did see the chair today.
Cause it said, I think it says that they won't tell us who that is until after we schedule these.
Right, so, and maybe the liaison is whoever's available.
Yeah,
Then, I saw Sharon Weimer today, in the hall, and they just haven't, they're not kind of saying who they are yet. I
I'm
don't
sorry,
know
what was
if
the
it's
question
been
again? What were you
determined.
saying, Courtney?
Liaisons.
the muck committee will send liaisons to each of these different committees
Right.
that they've put in this document, so in order for us to, we have to send our dates for these January, February, March meetings to the muck to get our,
To get the
to
liaison.
get the liaison.
But I think I mean, and this is what Mary and I talked about, because the chamber is the co-lead here
Yep.
with the committee. I think we need to pick dates. We need to make sure we have a venue for where they're gonna be.
Mhm.
Cause
The
I mean,
meeting.
this room we can use, it's
Yeah.
hard
Yeah,
because meeting space is at such a
spots.
premium. We
I
can
like-
use, how many people can you fit at the chamber though?
Well, I
comfortably?
mean, if we were to get both groups together, I don't think they could fit in our conference
Mhm.
room.
Right.
However, I think if it's like after 4 o'clock, we can use the visitor center. You can put 20 people in there, set up some tables and chairs.
I mean,
We've done that before.
In like the
Main-
lobby?
lobby,
Yeah, because we close at 4.
Yeah.
that's right.
That
If-
makes sense.
I mean, I think the question is, there's more meeting room availability here, like the hearing room, but it's during the day. So, and I know
That's hard.
Courtney works, you're working now,
Yeah.
Joe, you work. Joe works,
Peter couldn't even
Peter
get out
works,
today, so.
so-
Here, so, yeah.
I don't,
Steve. Man, I could have said that a whole lot
Must be nice.
quicker.
highly recommended.
Just be Steve.
Everybody but Steve here
Right.
works.
But.
And then I have to get all of my committee.
Right, so there's a
together.
lot of coordinating to do
So
on,
what-
and
Yeah,
picking out who else to
yeah.
involve in this.
Do you have any idea of what days are good for your folks?
No, because I'm still determining who my folks are. Because I want to have a really good representation. Just so you know, I'm meeting with Paul on Monday.
Great.
I've asked
Paul
Paul
Niedzwiecki?
Niedzwiecki from the
Yep.
Cape Cod Chamber to join us because I think he could have some substantial data that would help support some of the decisions that we could decide on or not decide on for certain reasons. But I think having a regional approach too would be helpful. And then obviously we have some local people, obviously property owners in Yarmouth that I think would be, have good input, good history, good.
Have you approached Paul? Has he agreed?
I have a meeting with him Monday.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah,
I-
Paul and I have a good relationship, so.
I'm just trying to, I want to make this as simple as possible without a ton of back and forth. Tuesdays are out, right? Because they're not great for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tuesdays are gonna be out. It's also a regular meeting date. I think we should just try and avoid that. Is there any other days that really don't work for any of you folks?
I can't. do
Wednesdays aren't, yeah,
Wednesdays.
so Tuesdays and
What-
Wednesdays.
If it works for everyone else, that's
Okay.
I think we're probably gonna get to a point where.
It's
Right.
not gonna
It's not
work
gonna
for
be
everybody,
everyone,
but,
so-
but I'd like a majority of our people.
And we're talking evenings, right?
Yes,
So
evenings for sure.
now you're Monday and Thursday.
Yeah. That's, I think if we could at least nail down that those 2 days are
Yeah.
good,
That's good.
then,
one.
Mondays even would be better.
yeah, then we can work from that.
I'm sorry, the frequency that you're proposing?
So right now we just need one in,
One in
One in
January,
Feb-
one in
Jan-
February, one in March.
yeah.
That-
Three
meetings.
Well,
meetings.
we can meet as.
We can meet as often as we want,
Right.
but what they're asking us for is these, I mean, it's very much just like throw everything at the wall,
Additionals.
everything sticks, come back, look at all those, take things off the wall that don't stick, and then go with your, so yeah. If we need additional meetings, I think we can certainly get
And
there.
it's an aggressive timeframe.
It's so
It's
aggressive.
very aggressive.
Yeah.
To come up
For
with
that
very
big
thoughtful
group,
which I love.
concepts.
Yeah, I think it's great. I hope we really get some good
Shocking.
progress on it. All right,
Monday evenings are good.
okay. What's your, when do you think you'll have your idea of who you'll have?
Thursday of next week I have meetings, so
Okay,
after Thursday of next week, I'll pretty much know my slate.
okay, so then do
So
you,
that's after the 19th. Is there a way for you to kind of get that sooner so that we can get?
so he wants us to meet after the first week in January, so it's that week of the 6th. He says to give the muck time to,
Mhm.
after that first week, after the week of the 6th, so,
Let the muck marinate.
yeah, so we're looking at the 13th or
What?
the 27th essentially. If we
Yeah.
can do the 13th, that'd be good, because the 20th is. Wait, when's?
20th is Martin Luther
Yeah,
King Day.
20th.
20th, I will be
Yeah,
away.
so the 13th, if we can,
Karen and I had talked about possibly the last week of
Yeah,
January.
it's probably the best.
the last week,
We're gonna have to do a Zoom.
Okay. but, okay.
We're gonna
I
have
just
to
don't
do.
want us to be like so
Nine,
much.
10
So
by
are we
Yes,
gonna do
we
the
can
last
do a
week?
Zoom.
I was very schadenfreude.
Well,
Are we just gonna do the last
You
week
know,
of
it's
every
the-
month?
in theory, we can do Zoom. I don't know how effectively we could do Zoom in the
Yeah.
chamber lobby. Probably not very.
That's.
Nope.
Something down the floor.
When are you away?
Even, 30, 29th, 30th, coming back in middle of March.
Oh.
In phase 3,
Wow.
whatever.
Well, you know what, I mean, if I need to set up a.
Thank you.
laptop and do
Don't thank me that.
it.
Well, we can do it that way. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
it
put
could
you
be-
on somebody's phone.
Yeah,
Won't be as clean as something like this,
Right.
but we can,
Since we have our regular meetings the second Tuesdays, do we wanna say like the last week? Do we wanna just call it like the last Monday of the month or something, or?
we're gonna have to wait, I think we'll find out, but.
No, I mean, if I throw it out to them, we can just say this is the date that we're available, the 27th. I mean, people have ample time. We're giving them 6 weeks
month.
notice.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I just wanna get these all on the calendar. I don't wanna be
Yeah.
spending 30 minutes. at
So
the end of
there's the
every meeting.
calendar
Yeah,
up there.
I'm fine with the 27th. That's fine.
That works.
7th of what, January?
Yeah.
That's our first one?
Yeah. That's fine by me.
And we're planning on right now at the chamber office.
I think that's
Probably best,
probably
yeah.
best.
How many people are you expecting?
So I have a
to
calendar
have?
on the screen.
Mary,
I wouldn't think more than 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's 6 and, okay, that'd be 10. You can't get 10
We
on
had
your
12.
conference?
I can get 10 and then I can do Zoom.
She can do 10.
I can do up to
Oh, yes.
12 there. It's I mean,
In your conference room.
Yeah.
and I can do Zoom. Yeah, if we do it in there.
okay, I mean, it's just, I mean,
We'll figure, once we
Right,
get,
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
if,
really just us. I mean, Peter's always hit or miss, so he might not make it. I mean,
And Joe,
between
same
us,
thing.
yeah, it shouldn't be no more than 12
Yeah.
with you two also.
This-
So, okay, so yeah, let's think of the chamber for the 27th. That's fine.
What time?
Does 5,
5?
is that okay for you, Mary? Or- Yeah?
Yeah.
I can do anytime on Mondays, but
do you
5
want
sounds good.
to, I mean, if you guys, how long, I mean, we can provide like sandwiches or something if you guys want. And then that way people could be eating.
I don't need food.
I do at that time. I get
Uh,
angry.
Yeah, a little nibble might help.
Hungry.
A little nibble, a little snack.
Yeah, what I did.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Really calling this the muck, huh?
that's, I know, I was typing it into it, I was like, oh, okay.
It's easy. It is what it is.
It is easy.
Just,
I agree.
Like, roll.
Right.
I like that it's an
I'm
acronym you actually
I'm not
say.
that
rather than
energized
just
around
letters.
this.
Me too. I like, yeah.
I like to have a word. Yes, I agree. All right.
So, is there a site plan of the, I know you, what you showed us there is. kind of-
That is what we have at this point.
We've only picked this one
Yeah,
January
before we
date
get
so far.
distracted, can,
Yes.
should we just pick the last Monday of each month? Is that
That's
what we're
fine,
saying?
except for March. I can't do the last Monday in March. I can do the week before.
So then we'd have February 24th.
That's exciting.
Yeah, the 24th
So-
of February, which is
Great.
crazy.
And the 24th of March, because the 31st is the last Monday, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be here anywhere near Zoom on the 24th.
So let's
Okay.
go 31.
Yeah, I could do the 31st if that's fine with the muck.
My mother's birthday.
I'm sure it will be.
We'll muck it up somehow.
Yeah. All right.
The ways we're going.
Well, let me do,
So,
hopefully.
at 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, hopefully it'll work.
5
Just
o'clock.
let us know if it doesn't. And then we'll go back to
Yeah.
the drawing board, but that, I mean, hopefully Monday's at 5. Last Mondays.
Yeah, it'd be nice to not have to send 15 emails back and forth with
Yeah.
everyone. It'll be good if these dates just,
Yeah, last Monday.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the capital budget, we could do it here in March.
Okay,
But Mary, it might be easier to
Just stick with one.
stay with one
so
place.
chamber,
Yeah, fine.
okay, 5 PM chamber, last Mondays.
27, 24, and 31
Yes.
sold.
Cool. All right, so you'll confirm with us, Mary, and then we'll let Bill know, or the muck know, these are our
Yeah,
proposed. Okay,
My meeting's on the 19th and that's when I'll confirm with you, Karen.
okay, thank you.
so does anybody have questions you want me to relay? to-
What
to
questions
Bill?
I mean, going back to
Or-
that box that you had up before that kind of outlined things.
Yeah, let me go back to the packet.
I guess.
Go
Sorry.
ahead, I'm sorry. Whitney,
No, you go first. I have a
I,
Before you ask, Steve,
theological question, I
could
think.
could I just ask Karen a question about the planning board questions?
Mhm.
What plus questions did they ask? Like, it would be helpful to know where they're.
They asked
Doing these-
about, I mean, and I have so many pages that I printed out for you, and I stopped at one point. It was mostly timing, when are you getting the consultants? What about the map? The liaisons? And that type of thing.
Okay,
So,
sorry, Steve, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and who's paying for the consultants?
That was, I think, a town meeting article.
Okay, so then I'm gonna come back here and,
That I
Well,
don't,
there is a piece in here that did say
That I don't
that,
know.
yeah, there was a piece in here, let me find it.
was it in this one or his other one?
It's in his big one. No, where'd it go?
Right,
It did say something though along the lines of like,
it,
oh.
it was in like that third piece, in between the
Yeah, oh,
second
yeah.
and third one.
At this time, the proposal request, April to early June, at this time, teams would be encouraged to both ask town staff for help and possibly hire a consultant. So that's,
Right.
yeah, that's that last part, which, okay. I
And
guess,
And I'm not sure what the
I-
consultant's gonna be doing. You know, is just gonna assemble ideas or is that
Mhm.
consultant? As an example,
Yeah.
Urban Land Institute has
Mhm,
staff there. If we, the town decided to become a member,
mhm,
that staff would come out and give us ideas. Okay,
mhm.
here's all your ideas. He could help us whittle,
Mhm.
or she could help us whittle those down, that group could help us whittle those down, and based upon their experiences with similar towns and size as Yarmouth.
Their fees are relatively low, aren't they?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's based upon population, I'm
I
sure.
mean, we had-
yeah, it's,
We used them once,
Yeah.
years ago, and it was a small grant that
Yeah.
funded it.
Yeah.
But I think that if, you know, and that's where I'm saying the time frame is ambitious.
Mm.
Because if you want to hire a consultant,
in April, you gotta discuss that in January.
how long does
Now.
that take?
Good, but get ready for that.
You know? How long does it take to get on the, you know, ULI list
Mhm.
to come help?
Well, that's why I was interested in the pre-study, because that was supposed to get us some portion down the field
Yeah.
to start.
Anyways, going to my other thing was going back to that box,
You want the table?
yeah. it kind of puts us in a box in
Mhm.
that it says, go focus on,
I'm trying.
that's right, I'm
Hotels.
good.
Tad's not.
Focus on hotel and restaurant businesses.
Right.
Then it says, well, by the way, yeah, there's other things that you need to look at, like filling in facility gaps. So I know he's talked about that in the past,
Right.
there's not enough meeting space. So, I mean, I feel like reading that, it's boxed in, this committee, our CEDC is boxed in with the chamber, just looking at restaurant and hotel uses, when there's a lot more things that we need for the community. And by the way, all this has to tie in with a diff and everything else that we talked about in the past. And to get the diff to a point where you need to help defray the cost of the wastewater, you're gonna need a lot of development going on in the town, not just on hotel and restaurant business.
Yeah. he
I-
says that in his other
I guess
memo.
I feel boxed in and we should, when we ought to be looking, especially with a site as big as this, 70+ acres.
We don't need to stay in our box.
No,
I-
that's
yeah.
my point for bringing that up is, I don't know how you get the
You
chamber
know,
feels
and
about it,
I
but
think that he says here, I think this is some guidance. He says the below table outlines the teams and then generally their roles. Please do not consider the below in a limiting manner. The roles are suggestions, not directives.
Yeah.
So I think that you're free. And I mean, what I keep hearing is there shouldn't be any constraints on that first meeting.
Right. Anything.
If anything you think of,
I want
let's
to put up a Pizza Hut the size of
put it on the
Manhattan.
wall.
That can go on the board.
Yeah,
Wow,
Um,
that's random.
that'd be cool.
I was a Pizza Hut girly. My only issue with this is the economic tourism part. The tourism piece,
yeah.
we're way more than that. Like I
Right.
want, so I'm glad that we're
That's-
all seeing this from like
Yeah.
I want to do year-round economic development. All
That's
sorts
what
of
it should
stuff.
be,
So-
And I think that's what you're gonna hear from the chamber too.
Yeah.
is, You know,
Tourism should be economic.
tourism is a piece of.
I have
the
a
economy,
question for you to
not-
take back, Karen.
That's where it's coming.
I have a question
one
once
at a
Joe
time.
is done.
Is the town considering selling this property?
Oh, that's a good question. Really not, but.
That's one of the ideas we throw up on the board.
Right, exactly.
My question is, and maybe you can answer this, Mary, what the heck is a destination level option?
Yeah,
I was gonna, yeah.
Okay,
maybe I mean, I looked at it as grandiose, like
Okay.
macro and micro.
okay,
That's
Okay.
why I looked at it.
I mean, we tried to figure it out. Friday, I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean. I think for.
he gets into the economic ripple part in his other memo was.
I think the other thing Karen and I talked about is the overlap with recreation.
Yep, yep.
I've been working with Bill and with Anthony a lot. And I think some of you know, I've been working with two major recreation events to come here in 2025. One is the one with Sri Lanka Productions. They're gonna make a decision next week if they're bringing that event here. And then the second summer cycle is actually coming, it's gonna start and end here in Yarmouth next year.
Oh, that's nice.
And we've been working on that for months with the organizers for that, and we're working on a third event right now. That would be in June of 2025. And there's an overlap of recreation. And so with them working in their little bucket here, we're not talking to them. So Karen and I had talked about, we work with golf a lot, Scott Gilmore. And where is he in this?
Mhm,
Is he with recreation? Should we be talking to him? And then I want to make sure, for those of you, I don't know if you know, Anthony Bennett is leaving the town.
Friday.
Friday's his last day. We're not sure who's taking his role, so I don't know who's taking on that.
No, I did get the, a copy of the RFP today
Yeah,
for the field analysis.
okay.
Because I wasn't sure where that stood and I wanted to see, I haven't read it, I just got it today. I wanted to see what the scope was. And I do think it's just like an inventory exercise. What do we have? What do we need? And
That
Does
contract,
Have what we
And-
need?
I think it does. There were 3 components. I can send it to you,
Yeah, that would be.
or you can sign up in case it's changed.
Okay, because like we work with the Senior Softball League
Mhm.
and they have the potential of bringing 4,000 players annually here. But our fields aren't up to, up to par, up to the standards that they need.
Right,
So does that fall under recreation or is that,
both.
right, but that's
Right.
why we need to be talking to
Right.
each other.
And so, I mean,
Yeah.
we could invite, I'm not sure who will invite
We,
for, if you wanted to involve a recreation person.
Well, like I gave you the example, like
Yeah.
I've been working with Mike Berry
Right.
on this, right? But Mike works, I mean, he's been meeting with me and Jeff Colby and Anthony and Bill.
And that might be a second meeting, in the second meeting, where you're
Right.
delving in.
If you can find out who's overseeing the recreation piece.
Yeah, I think it's, I haven't actually met him. Who's the assistant now?
Steve,
I'm not sure, but it could be him, right? I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, okay. I don't know.
Okay.
So I just didn't know, like, that might be, there's a couple of those event coordinators that I might want to bring in, but I don't know if they're already gonna be with recreation. So I don't, I don't know who to talk to there.
Peter is Peter Slovak is the planning board assignee to this task. Which makes
Good.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so I have. Brittany, did you have a question you wanted me to?
Just what the heck is a destination level option?
I
That's
think
really my
what
main
it is.
question. Yeah, I think, I definitely think it's probably on par with what you're saying, Mary. But yeah, there's like a lot of phrases in here that are probably said more simply elsewhere.
And can I ask of you guys, I mean, I have in my head who I would invite from the chamber. Do you guys have any particular individuals or industries you would like? I'm not putting myself in the box of restaurants and hotels.
I mean, it's gotta be, this is where you're very, very useful in Cape Cod Chamber is, it's gotta be, again, tying back to the diff. It's gotta be economic development growth beyond restaurant and hotels. But it can't be necessarily, I know where someone's coming from down the hall there, related to medical, unless it's for-profit medical. Right? This town doesn't need any more off-tax rolls, property redevelopment.
Mhm.
It needs investment, private investment that will pay some taxes going forward. So unless they change the whole thing on the diff, so.
One of the big banks.
A decision maker, though. Okay, that's an easy one.
They're both, yeah, because both Cape Cod, like, Cooperative and Cape Cod, they're so involved in everything, they.
Well, someone's gonna have to fund this thing, because it's shaping up to be a public-private partnership,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I don't think the town is, I hope the town's looking at that option as opposed to paying for all this themselves.
I mean,
Can't do it.
if you're talking about hotel and restaurants, you gotta, yeah.
So I think that drives some of our work too, because ultimately it's gonna, this needs to all culminate in an RFP that gets put out to the development community, right? So if the banking community hasn't already taken a look at what we're planning on asking a developer to do.
In redevelopment or development entities for profit would be another group to invite in. Or talk to some representatives, like a, I don't know, someone that's gonna redevelop a site off Cape someplace, they can come down and offer some ideas.
We know who they are.
Right. That's,
I
That's
mean,
the
we have
key.
redevelopment housing
Yeah.
experts we
Yeah.
can call on.
Yeah,
Do you
and
want to
them-
reach out
yeah,
to them?
Yes,
who are you thinking of?
I don't know, Dakota or Jim, can't think of his last name off the top of my head, at the Yarmouth Gardens. They're very savvy. Housing is looking into, housing has, we're involving the county, we have technical assistance for the county. So we're gonna involve them in doing some kind of scenarios
Right.
for housing.
Right.
We're working on identifying all of the funding streams for the state that could help offset some of the housing costs. If housing is a component here,
Yeah, I
those are
think
good things.
I think if you get a hold of a housing person, they might lead you into someone that does redevelopment or development of sites that just aren't for housing. That's what-
Maybe Paul might be able to bring someone from a larger swath of the development community,
what-
like a wind development or someone that stepped
Yeah,
up.
there you go.
IAS,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Someone
It's a
that
good
could execute on the type of density that this property probably warrants. Cause it's not like, forgive me, it's not a Davenport project necessarily. It's not an Eastward Company's project necessarily, unless we're gonna put single family homes on it, like. Need some density and that's not what they do. Someone that does that.
But do you want to involve these people
Not in
from the
January.
get-go?
No.
Right.
No,
No,
not
okay.
now, just
No.
later. Yeah,
I'm making clear.
yeah.
No, I don't. I would like to talk to Molly D and somebody from Cape Symphony Orchestra, the Cape Symphony, the big one. Cause they're doing stuff all over. They just announced a huge partnership with Pelham House. Winter concert series all the time. Like they have their
Pelham
pulse.
House does some great things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Symphony is actually, Karen, you and I talked about, Symphony is actually looking for a home.
Yeah. Yeah, so that arts and culture piece is something I want.
Mhm.
And then I think.
And again, phase two.
Yeah.
Second meeting.
That's all I can think of for now. But I think, yeah, January will just be
Throw your ideas.
throwing it all up there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Are there other questions that we want Karen to take back to the muck?
So many.
Yeah. Gonna be a fluid process. I mean, we're gonna have things popping up
It has to
along the
be.
way.
Yeah, but before we get to January, I'm saying, are there any other questions we want to have clarified? Before we,
At the moment, I don't have any.
I mean, I think your question is like Steve said, a viable,
yeah,
put it on the board.
Hmm.
If
I
you
mean,
put
if
it
you're
on the
gonna-
board.
a couple of questions. I mean, is it gonna become part of the diff? It's not currently.
It's not currently,
It's not.
but it
in
could
this-
be.
it's
I
not
mean,
in-
you say, so maybe you do a new diff.
Oh.
40R is the big,
So I think of the things you guys are talking about, you're gonna have to, like, my group, you're gonna have to explain what you're talking about. So I think,
I hear.
seriously.
No, I know, I
Right.
hear, I hear.
So some of them may be familiar with what you're talking
Yeah.
about, and some will have no idea.
oh, yeah, and we can
think-
explain that.
I think between now and then, we can work, Karen and I can work on an agenda, especially once I
Yeah,
know who the
absolutely.
people are.
Is DPW on here?
Yeah,
Are they?
I think so.
the water
one,
department's
right?
in there.
Oh, yeah.
Water
that's right.
department and then
Open
municipal,
space.
Yeah.
everything else kind of is a catch-all under.
'Cause
I mean,
municipal.
DPW will support whatever
Are they planning on-
questions come
are they-
out.
Are they planning on altering the CWMP,
They
to
would
change the
have to
phasing?
eventually.
right?
I mean,
So those are just some of the,
yeah,
I'm
but
just
I
trying to
think
think
those
of, like-
practical things. I think personally that your first step is don't hold back.
Yeah, just
If you
dream.
have ideas about what you think might be great there, say it out loud.
Yeah.
And put it on the board. And then you're gonna come back and you're gonna think about things. I think that some of the comments you've made, about, Steve, Town of Yarmouth needs investment and taxpayers.
Mhm.
That's a great criteria. Year round, full-time jobs, are those how you're advancing your suggestions? I mean,
because this could ultimately end up being a new village in town. It's that big.
good.
That's. what
With tiny houses.
It could, but you gotta remember, like, I
Oh,
mean,
4
it's
stories.
starting out a little decentralized, right?
Yeah.
And all the different groups, and then you're gonna have to work with others. That's something I'm not clear about, how we're gonna facilitate the
Yeah,
cross pollination.
Yeah.
But it'll, like you said, it's gonna figure itself out.
yeah,
I think that, it's nice, it's very inclusive and
Yeah.
trying to kind of think outside the box and
Dream.
dream a little, sure. Why not?
I'll say this once, and only once, the expectation here, I think, should be that we're gonna get to something as a group collectively. That it's not driven from internal forces in the town where they've already got something set up in mind and they're just using this process to get. Okay, so I hope it's not that. I hope it's,
Mhm.
in the end, is a combination of all these different groups, disparate groups coming together with something new, different. That's good for them. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I totally envision like a lot of these groups having some of the same ideas, like, I'm sure, like, we're not the only people to say like housing and performing arts and like, and then hopefully we'll just like really fine tune it to something that works for
right.
everybody. But yeah. All right. So you'll figure out with your folks, Mary, and get back to us on meeting dates, and then we'll coordinate on that.
Yep.
I'm sorry, one last thing. Do you think we're gonna need legislation?
Or which piece of it?
You might, yes, you
Maybe.
may.
We don't know until we know what it's.
Right.
And I'm just-
Maybe, you know,
I know,
I
I'm
think the
just-
answer is maybe.
Yes.
I know, but where they put an aggressive timeline on this, the legislative session starts January.
Yeah, it's not, no, nothing can happen for this upcoming town meeting. It's too
Right.
soon. We're not even supposed to be done meeting until the warrant is like about to be posted.
It's not.
So, yeah, so,
I'm talking about through our representatives at Beacon Hill.
no, I know that. But it has to go through town meeting to get to the legislature. If we're gonna make some sort of like home rule charter change or something like that, I don't know what we would do. It's not gonna happen right now, that's for sure. It might be a late file in 26 or at the end of 25, but nothing is gonna get through
But-
to this next session.
But
Sorry.
that shouldn't deter us from
No.
putting any ideas we want.
I don't think we could even say what kind of legislation help we would need until we know what the purpose of the site is,
Right.
what it's gonna be used for, and if something has to be changed in the bylaws or anything like that. I think we just gotta see where this. Just gotta get on this horse and ride it and see where we end up.
I'm boy up.
All right, is that good on muck stuff? And then do we wanna, while Mary's still here, do we wanna move to
Yeah.
anything else, chamber? What was it, under staff updates or?
Well, so staff updates, I mean, we're kind of all over Mary's got a little bit of stuff in every item.
Okay.
Muck was the main thing.
Okay, so
But,
that's good. What if-
Let's see, do you want to talk about special events?
Yeah, let's talk about, we'll go back to number one, special events.
Okay, so this part, and I tried to, when I sent stuff out to you guys, I tried to organize it by topic, so it could be helpful. This is the memo that Courtney put together to deliver to the select board to let them know about your recommendations. At the end of the memo, I think it would be good to let them know
Mhm.
that you voted to reopen the RFP, issue a second RFP. I think it would be good to reflect available funds and the schedule here. Because when we talked last, I think it was a little amorphous. We talked about January. January is certainly doable from my point of view. The amounts that you have right now, sorry,
Thank you.
is that good?
Yeah.
Better for me too. Except we don't get all the columns page. This is the special event section.
So we got 86,
Right here,
87.
you got 86,
87.
546 right now. This is a balance that we haven't returned. We can do that, close that out. That was for the last St. Patrick's Day parade you funded.
Okay.
This $40,000 here
Codstock.
was from Codstock, which withdrew and then didn't apply. So.
Can add that to the 86 is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 20.
So, the question is, do you guys want to put those two amounts into the 86?
Yep.
And do you want to make that amount available for this second round?
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes.
Okay, so can I
Need
get
a
a,
motion?
yes, please.
Motion to move the 40,000 and the 136030 into the allocation of 86, 546.85. Or a new allocation of, what's the math on that?
127,907.15 cents.
For the
Thank you.
total.
for the total.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and so the other part of that memo
What's the schedule?
was the schedule, and do you want to make it the announcement in January?
Yeah, I think we said January due February 1.
Okay. So we'll get it out into the paper for right after the new year.
Yeah, for
I
the
have
6th.
trouble with all the advertising around the holidays.
I
It's-
know, it's,
I don't know who's seeing anything.
like, if you put,
Because then your next meeting,
It's the 11th.
now, so then, that's where we got organized. So
The next
then
meeting's the
your
4th.
February,
Oh,
is that
so
February
twenty-five?
that's
11th.
25, yeah, so we meet the
Because it's after
14th and the
12th.
11th.
Right, so if you make it due on the fourth or the fifth.
Yep,
Then you can review it and do those votes on the 11th,
that's
Yep.
fine by me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
Second.
Thank
all
you.
those in favor?
I,
Okay,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
So those events would be executed in 2025?
Correct.
Thank you.
So. All right, so that's. Just that special event item. I'm trying to figure out the best way to keep an eye on that.
nice memo, by the way.
Oh, thanks, I just updated what we did last year. Yeah, so next Tuesday, right, is when I go, the 17th.
Yes.
So I'll go to the board with that memo on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about that.
So that, let's talk a little bit. It's not on the agenda. It was gonna be one of my updates. About the sand sculptures.
Oh, yep.
It's probably a good dovetail.
Mhm.
Mary has been moving forward to line up the sand sculpture project for calendar 25, right?
Mhm.
And that work is all completed by when? Is it done in June or does it
The
cross
last
into
week of-
July?
No, the last week of June.
Okay, so it's all done in June. And maybe it goes better with the other item. The budget allocations. So Mary has, in the marketing budget, and we can't vote on anything, it's not on the agenda. Part of the marketing contract, the current marketing contract has, if you recall, the events weren't lined up. We had a lump sum of like $38,000 in there for events TBD, like to be determined. I've approved, a very small amount for the Yarmouth stroll that just
Mhm,
happened this
mhm.
weekend.
Did you guys? go?
Awesome pictures. Awesome. No, I looked at the pictures.
I saw the picture.
I was here Saturday.
It's phenomenal.
Which is great, but then there's the balance, and I think that it's, one of the things that's up to Mary that we've talked about is whether or not that balance would be appropriate for the sand sculptures.
The balance of
Yes.
the,
Since
In
stroll-
part.
Part of it.
In
the stroll,
part.
Right.
And
No,
the sand sculptures is part of an event.
oh, yeah,
I would think.
yeah.
so,
So typically, it gets very confusing, and I
Right.
put this in an email to Karen and Courtney, every year, the money for the sand sculpture initiative is funded differently. And there's no process, and every year we're trying to figure out how we're funding it. And it would be great if there would just be a decision made of how the funding is, if it's included in the marketing contract. Is it a marketing initiative? Is it an event? Do we apply? I think it's one of the largest marketing initiatives that this town has. It is a massive brand for the town of Yarmouth now.
and it was called out in the RFP as an example.
Right.
For a signature event.
Right.
So, but the budgeting didn't work or with the amount available. It wasn't included in part of your 25 5, 6,
Right, we
24,
were
5
told-
proposal.
We were told to keep it separate from the marketing contract this past year. Some years it's in it, some years it's
Mhm.
not in it, so.
Well, I think
um,
it's something for the committee to discuss, kind of moving forward.
Yeah, and so we have this bucket of money where I thought this particular item, the committee had voted on a portion of it in your last fiscal year. And then that a portion of it was gonna come out of this fiscal year, but Karen said that did not happen. Even, it was discussed about right around budget time, but I guess it didn't happen. So we do have a chunk of the TBD to be determined in our event bucket that we will have. And I suggested to Karen, we can probably determine a good, a close number by the end of this week, what we could allocate towards the sand sculpture trail.
And then there's also, and I think all of this is a heads up, you guys need a proposal
Mhm.
and a budget.
Mhm.
And then we look at the on-hand funds and make a decision. So, but this is intended to kind of just raise the issue. There's also the funding here, there's a balance in the marketing and promotion line of $18,000. That was the funding that was not spent in the
Sure.
last year's contract with the chamber for marketing. So
Okay.
we have that funding available as well. It is, again, it's a hodgepodge
Yeah.
of funding.
Right.
The last few years, and I mean, I'm happy to go back through our information on the contract. I tried quickly today. I think since like 21 or 22 that it's been out of physical improvements. So, but I know we've had some conversations.
hearing
Is that
Joe Gibbs in
appropriate?
my ear.
Right. So, I think that you all need to have
Okay,
that conversation around the buckets and
Okay.
what you want to do.
Okay.
Mary, what's the general idea of how much money we're talking about? I just never
Yeah.
remember what's.
It's the
sand sculpture.
funding for the sand sculpture. So it's a $75,000 project. And the CEDC funds 40,000. And their increase went up very slightly this year from the artist. And it's all because their housing goes up, because they live here for almost 4 weeks while they're building, because they build every single day. Doing the 33 sculptures, so.
Right.
So I'll have that to Karen on Friday.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Yeah, but thank you for the heads up.
And if I can just say, some of the challenge is been with our trying to get our new events in town. There's not a place to hold an event anymore with more than 130, 150 people. Or there's no parking, or we have to worry if you get an outdoor tent that it's gonna blow down because of the winds that we get here. So it's a conversation Karen and I had the other day. It's one of the biggest challenges for us to implement an event
open
in
space.
town.
Yep.
Since Mary's here, do you want to give her the opportunity to update on the Sri Lanka report?
Yeah, if you have any updates from them before our January meeting.
I will read an email from Eric
Thank you. Perfect.
I just got yesterday.
I'm gonna have to go.
There's one item on the list already, event space.
I'll send you a new
Okay,
template.
thank you.
That's my number one.
Yeah. Event
So-
and meeting space too.
One of the biggest challenges. It's
Yeah.
same for golf, that's,
Golf?
yeah, they want and need like a wedding space.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They're doing their own design. On the Bayberry side.
Oh, they're trying,
Yeah.
but, all right,
Fix the freaking bridge on. First. Jeez,
Which bridge?
Joe,
How many bridges?
there's one bridge.
Oh, well, there's more
With,
than,
Bass River.
September, second week of September, 2025.
yeah,
I just talked to Mass DOT the other day.
and their
Oh, the
timelines
Bass-
are always,
Bass River Bridge. He's
Bridge?
talking about the
He's
Bayberry Hills,
He's talking about
or
the
not
golf
the
course.
Bayberry Hills,
Yeah.
the Bass River Golf
Yeah.
Course.
All right, Eric Solanka basically said, we will have the updated report returned to you by January 1st as requested. Our focus is on providing the necessary information to address the specific requests of the CEDC. As discussed, the original report will be revised And the additional information will be highlighted to differentiate it from the original content. Thank you.
Okay. great.
And just so you know, he sent 2 staff members down last Thursday, and they spent 4 hours in town revisiting all the places that I brought them to before. And then I brought them to the cultural center because they hadn't gone to that location last time they were here.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Anything else? You have to
I'm
go.
gonna have to run. I have to go down to the select board meeting briefly, and then I'll go back. Then I gotta go back down.
Do you want me to give an update on the jingle?
Yeah, do you have,
Yeah,
yeah, anything
that
else
would
you
be
have,
great.
Mary, while we have you, and then we'll.
All right.
You'll let me go?
Yeah, if you- yeah, I don't want you, I don't want to waste any more of your time.
Courtney, because you can do the annual report too. and
Yeah.
the budget allocations if you want.
Okay,
So I did provide Karen, with a proposal as you requested for the use of the jingle. And, I think Karen said that she's gonna provide it to the committee. If you have any questions, then you'll get back to
Did I
us.
give you that one?
no, I don't think so.
So I have hard copies here because it came in the packet.
So for those of you who don't know, we have a new marketing director. I would have brought her this afternoon, but we just did a 4-hour board retreat and
Oh,
we
yeah.
have another part of it starting tomorrow morning, so. She had some deadlines to meet, but, she came up with this, and the only thing I had asked Karen is if there's,
Thank you.
questions and comments, because I know it needs to go to town council.
Molly.
uh, So that we can have a licensing agreement. We would really like to use the jingle for the winter carnival advertising. So that would happen through social media and radio. That, if somehow can be executed, Karen didn't think it would be a problem that we would have it. The licensing agreement back fairly quickly.
Okay. Cool. Well, can you thank Amy for us?
I will do that. Oh, that's right, you know her.
Yeah, can you thank her? I hope her first roll went well. It looked like it, she had a great time and it did, yeah.
Was thrilled.
Yeah,
She had never been to it
which is
before.
so funny.
I know, when she lives in Yarmouthport. And then I was just gonna make a request if I can do that. I think it would be helpful for the chamber if we could meet with the CEDC either quarterly or
Yes.
twice a year.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you know, we've been working with the business community with plastic reduction.
Yep.
Regulation, and we went to special town meeting last night. The Board of Health did. We've been working with them. So that did pass.
Yep,
And that has.
after a lot of
significant-
discussion.
Yes, has a significant economic impact on our local businesses, and it would have been great if we were in communication with the CEDC on that. And I think there's some other things that the chamber's in discussion on that you guys might be interested in, some of the things that we're working on. So I thought maybe quarterly or
Yeah.
twice a year, whatever.
That's fine with us. I mean, we're always here, so anytime the chamber wants to get on our agenda, more than welcome. But yeah, we can certainly make it like every quarter or whatever works and have us
Okay,
chamber updates.
just again, same thing with, I've been working with these events to come to Yarmouth for the last several months. And it looks like all 3 of them could be coming here. We're really excited about that, but it's taken a lot of time and
Yeah.
a lot of effort on the chamber's part to do that. And these are really great events that are going to bring a few thousand people a year if we can make them an annual, stay. So
Okay,
we'd love to make sure you guys are included in those conversations.
yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Mary.
great.
Anything else for Mary before we let her get on with her evening? Well, thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
You bet. Likewise.
Let me switch seats over here. The only other thing I'll talk about with Karen is out is, so, yeah, so the budget allocations. We wanna, talk about this a little bit. Let me pull, I drafted the annual report, which Karen, I think, sent to all of you too.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's like pretty much just took what we did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, updated it a little. All right, so we'll get that. I'll make sure Karen is okay with the highlights and all that stuff. It's just, I think it should be fine. And then we'll send that over to the select board. We're way ahead on that, but I'd rather just get it done.
Do we need a motion on that? Or-
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I
I don't
think it's
think
just
so.
a
Yeah.
standard thing. Okay, so allocations. So last year, our allocations were a little different. But this year, we're working with 520,000. So I kind of just went into these buckets here and like adjusted the figures to total 520,000. I'm pretty sure I definitely decreased the marketing. I think special
Yeah.
events was increased a little bit, public improvement maybe a little bit, and economic development projects a little bit. Admin stays the same, that's fine. But I guess we just want to talk about how you guys feel about these. It definitely starts the conversation on the marketing contract. Because right now they're at 191. I think the last allocation we did for marketing was like, it was at least 230. It was
I was
well,
gonna say it was like 228, I think.
yeah, it was well over 200. So,
How do you guys feel about putting the sand sculpture into there?
no. I
You're saying no?
the sand sculpture one, whatever happens this year, I'm fine with however we fund it. I do not want it in that contract for next year. I don't want anybody else who bids on this contract to think it's a requirement that we have the sand sculpture trail. And that it's a marketing component of the town that we want to see forever and ever, amen.
Okay,
I'd prefer if
So
the
that
chamber
means
would
that-
apply for this as an event,
right.
but I just think that we get some pushback if we told Mary in January, you need to apply for the February RFP and then house your people by June. I think that's just not gonna,
It's not fair, like.
it's not, yeah, it's
That's
just
not
not.
fair, but in the next,
For next year.
Next year, for sure,
they go into the event bucket.
yes.
I love that.
Let me. I
'Cause I
feel
don't think it's
like,
marketing, I
No.
think it's an event, right? Like,
well, yeah, it is an event, and
like
I
a
think.
parade.
I wonder if.
It can make, you can make an argument either way, I think.
I
It's
wonder
marketing
if-
because people, one of the things they come here for is, oh yeah, we participated in that last year, we went around, we did the thing with the family and that whole thing, so it is a marketing,
That's
not,
fine.
it's not a big thing.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's not an event, it's not, I think that's the problem, is that it's really like a square peg in a round hole.
But yeah, I agree with Mary that we just need to make a decision.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's twofold. I think we need a better process from start to get on when an idea pops up at the chamber and how it gets executed and brought to us and funded and through. I think there's been a lot of pushback to us that we haven't been helpful or talking about things when we don't really know about things. I mean, same with the jingle. I would have rather that had come to us well before it got funded and
But we
pushed.
did approve it. It was
But-
in the contract.
But I think this is what I'm saying though, is that like, it's all like, these were all add-ons to her contract though. These were like,
I'm pretty sure that was in a contract.
well, we're waiting for Karen to see that, but my point is that there needs to be a better process overall, and it's not just on us. Mary's welcome, Chamber's welcome to come to these meetings anytime they want. We could have been having quarterly meetings for the last 3 years. I want it to be equal, and for both of us, we're volunteers. She's a staff of 3-4 people, mostly part-time, and a volunteer board. It needs to be better from both sides. I don't like the assumption and the thought out there that like, we're not being helpful when we really don't know about a lot of stuff. I mean, she's come to us now when she's had this quote from the sand sculptures for how long, knowing she needed to house them. Like, it's a little piecemeal. I don't really appreciate that part of it.
Okay.
And I don't think Mary does either. So we need to come to a better process on it, but I would like.
Well, then the 200's a good place to be. I think.
Yeah, and and if it is in the contract, that's fine. I haven't seen the marketing contract in a year and a half. I really don't know what's in it, and until Karen sends us the new one, I won't, until the old one for us to review and look at for the new year, I really won't know what's in it. I'm trying to find where this,
I might actually. I don't know.
I feel like I may have adjusted some of these as well, definitely to fit the 200,000, because those numbers were a little wonky. But this is just.
Is that a thing we have to figure out ahead of time, or is that
It's gotta
something
go
that
to town
Mary
meeting.
comes to us
Mary does
in the
that.
contract?
yeah,
Well, so,
we give her the amount,
yeah, we
the
give,
total amount,
yeah.
she comes back.
yeah,
So she makes those buckets or?
Yes.
Okay,
based off of what we tell her
Based off 200,000. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
But, and to be fair too, don't forget, she may come back to us with an idea that she didn't know of when she was putting the contract together.
No, and I get
So-
that, but like,
But there's gotta be that two-way
it
communication.
has to be two-way communication from the get.
Yeah.
The second there's an idea on either end, it needs to
Yeah.
come up. It can't just, it's just been very, I think it's been like this for all of us for the past several months, that like, this has been very sort of piecemeal, and it's not, it doesn't help us budget, doesn't help her budget or plan anything, so.
Right, like this redoing of the report.
Yeah.
We had been involved in with that report, the evaluation of sites and events and all the thing. During it, prior to it,
It wouldn't have,
it
yeah.
wouldn't have come to us
Right.
and the state.
And the
that it came to
proposal
us.
on how the jingle was gonna be used should have been first, not last.
I think that all needs to be in the conversation we have about the marketing contract.
No, it
is
does.
That we
Yeah.
just, cause I agree with you, like, I think we've all, both sides have kind of gone, well, there's no overlap. And we've just kind of ignored each other. And I think we don't want to know every single small thing she does. We just
No.
need to
But if it's using
be
our
like,
money, we want to.
here's X, Y, and Z in this contract that we would like to be kept up to date on.
Some more definition of reporting requirements, that type of a thing.
I think we just, yeah, we have to
Communication.
decide like, yeah,
yeah, if we
when we're talking about something that's more than $15,000, $20,000, 40, whatever that number is, like, then we should probably have a conversation.
Yeah, I think I wish I could find it on her computer, but the contract just needs to be clearer on how we're supposed to work.
That's
Whoever
what-
this is in the future. And if it has to say quarterly meetings are required, then that's that. And I think you're right, like if there's a threshold, we need to put in there. There's just been a lot that's gone on in this last year that I'm really confused, and I know many of us are. But like, yeah, like,
And I get where Mary's frustration is coming from, because no one's ever. We've never asked, like, right? It's not, we just said, yeah, here you go, do the thing. The end. And so if we're changing our expectations,
yeah.
we need to.
I just don't know I don't know a lot of the history of it. I mean, you and I are the newest people here,
Yeah.
but I can say though that like. Understanding has never been, you get the contract, you get the money, you do what you want. There's always needed to be some sort of understanding that it's coming from we're overseeing the contract, we oversee the funds, there needs to be better communication. So I think we just gotta go forward with that in 2025 to like make it happen more. And-
Just so you, for your own edification, in the 2022 marketing RFP that I have, and I don't know that this is the final, it has a reporting formally no less than once per quarter from the respondent to the RFP to the Economic Development Committee.
Okay, so, yeah,
So it's in there.
So
We
we'll
just
keep
have
it in
to
that RFP and actually
Thank you.
do it this time.
execute it.
right, maybe formalize it a little bit in more detail, what we want to see, like
Yeah,
social media reports or visitor heads and like whatever it is, whatever the metric is.
yes, so I don't know that I'm supposed to be bringing this to the select board next Tuesday.
But you got the basic buckets there, right?
Yeah, that's the basic
Yeah.
bucket.
But the only thing that would be helpful, I think, to this conversation, Courtney, is what we have. Do you have the spreadsheet of where we're at currently? Because I know we have some,
Leftover.
like physical improvement, I know we have a bunch of
Yeah, we have.
carryover.
We do,
There's
but this
money
is just for the FY 26, 520 appropriations.
Right,
Everything
no,
else
I know
is-
that, but in terms of allocating to buckets. Like if we've got some economic development projects, as an example, coming up that we know we're gonna have to spend money on consultants. Then maybe we don't put additional money in physical improvement because we have residuals there from prior years. And put more into economic development because we're gonna have to hire a consultant for the muck. As an example.
Yeah,
See, I'm gonna go the other way in that, and I was gonna suggest that we take money out of economic development. And put it into another category, because
You're trying to protect the money.
Let me see, I'm kind of-
Is that what you're asking? No, that's just what's the difference between last year and this year.
Is it not? She just had it.
Yeah, I know, I felt like I had just seen it.
Yeah, she's usually got enough
she's
Like
gotta
a-
use on that big
in a
chart.
spreadsheet in real
She
time.
did,
She just had it open.
Yeah,
I can't find where the hell she had it open. File open. Recent? Or recent?
Is this our entire packet, Daniel?
She had it organized by topic of agenda.
You go in the
so there's
budget,
all the
maybe in
files
that
for
budget, look at that budget allocation.
That's the FY 26 memo.
But yeah, this is all of.
Is it, but
Yeah, I don't. see-
budget overview here?
Yeah,
Here we go.
right there.
Oh, yeah. Wait,
You don't understand.
paper.
It's-
This is how much is available. As of. This end.
The balance over there on the left is the column with what's left, right?
That's the FY 24 balance. The actual available funding is what's left over here
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
on the right.
Yeah,
So the admin, you have budgeted for 50, I thought it was.
15. That's the
15?
standard. It's
Okay,
been, yeah.
okay, economic development projects go down there.
193.
Where are we? This- Total economic studies and wayfinding, that's 227. There's 193 left on that. Yeah. So. If going back to that chart that you had before, with the different buckets, so you got economic development, 55,000.
Which will double that bucket, right?
Why do we need the 55 in there is what I'm saying. Though. Why
If
wouldn't-
we have 193.
Why don't we
We-
reallocate the 55 into some other spots?
We don't, but yeah, but then what's it gonna look like when we as the Economic Development Committee go to the board and say,
Right.
we have nothing in our economic development bucket?
All right.
These are-
But you say to them, you show them the other side
No,
of the
but
budget,
this
say
is-
190, because that's gonna raise
Yeah,
the other question. Somebody's gonna
right.
say, wait a minute. If I was somebody who was up on the things, you
No,
got
and I
50,000 there plus 193, what are you doing with all this money?
I get what you're saying. Well, it's gonna lead to a far bigger discussion than I can handle next Tuesday, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. We do have a lot of money left over. All this FY 26 money, this is all money that we're getting. This 520,000 after the assessments and all the meals and rooms tax and everything else that we're funded through, this is what we're getting. So we need to decide where it goes
I know
and
that.
how we wanna focus it.
I know
If-
that.
I know you know that, but so we can't just say we don't wanna put it in one of these buckets. We're always gonna have money left over coming from the prior year.
Why can't we say that? We can Say whatever we want, as long as we don't.
I
spend over the
don't,
520.
I personally, if we're voting on, I don't wanna say we want nothing in economic development. That's not gonna, cause what if we get to the smug thing and we
I
need
didn't say
something?
we put, well, I said zero it out, but maybe we could put 15,000 in there, or 20,000 in there.
But where do you
Where
want
do
to
you
put
want
it?
it?
Put it
Where do
in
you wanna put the rest of
public
it?
improvements.
So the public improvements is the one that's captured to the 20 to 40%. That's the one that we need to. 20 to 40% of a minimum of 20% of the appropriation
Up to-
and up to 40%.
Up to
So we-
40%, right?
So I think it's like, what's
So
that?
how much
Daniel?
we-
520, what's 20 to 40% of that?
520.
It's a little over 200.
So 20 to 40% of that needs to go to public
Well,
improvements.
I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing, but we did just put out, and I think we're covering it tonight, a request for public improvement
Mhm.
proposals from
Mhm.
departments.
Yeah.
So if we think that that's where we're inclined to want to spend some money, then maybe Steve's right. Maybe we put max, approach that 40% max.
Only because I think you can tie some of the public, not all of the public improvement money, to what you get back from the department heads to some of the CIP projects that they have.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
'Cause we didn't
I totally,
spend-
so Steve, I get where you're coming from on all angles. I just don't know how I'm gonna walk into the select board next week and say,
What if we did under 30?
30's, I'm fine with 30,
30's fine.
but.
30's fine.
I agree
just-
with Courtney that we should not, as an
I-
economic
You're
development
just
committee, we should
uncomfortable. I
not.
It's
go in
comfortable,
that.
and it's gonna lead, yes, we have 193,000 in there now. I get that.
But there's gonna be a lot of questions of why do we have 190?
Well, and then if we look, I mean,
I don't
to
think
be
you're gonna
honest,
get those questions. to be
if we
honest with you.
bring it,
Play devil's advocate, you do get the questions on it. I think you
I,
have to say,
no, but I just, it's,
let me finish. Instead of 55, you have 30 in there, council or chairman, whoever asks the question, recognize we want to allocate some into public improvements. And by the way, there's a balance that we're carrying forward for economic development projects that can be used in addition to the 15 or 50 or 30, whatever we end up with, for that, so that they see that. The memo there's gonna be a memo that's gonna go to these guys, right?
it's this memo, yeah.
Right,
this-
so why can't we describe that in the memo right up front? The
We
economic,
can describe that. I guess,
I don't want to put Courtney in that position.
I don't think it's a bad position to be
The
in.
position is gonna come down to, we have all this money, and then I have to say, we're funding it less because basically we've had all this money sitting here for 3 years and nobody in that office is.
And that's the reason why I'm suggesting it, because.
I know,
it's gotta be a
Steve, and
note to
maybe if
money.
you were chair, you'd feel comfortable going in and having that discussion. I just really don't feel comfortable having that discussion. I'm fine lowering it to 30. I'll do whatever the committee
Hold on,
wants,
I
but I wanna make sure it's appropriated accurately somewhere else,
That's why
especially when we do this month
I
thing.
agree with the 30, Courtney, so. let's stick
Okay,
with the
but
30.
can you let me finish? If we're gonna go into this economic development thing and we're doing this muck thing, and then for whatever reason, early April, June, July, we get asked to hire a consultant. I wanna make sure that like, we got it all there, and we're not just like moving money around and then we're
Well, that's
shuffling and
another
looking for
point.
stuff.
We were asked to hire a consultant. We never even get a chance to put the RFP together, A. B, we don't know when the consultant side.
Okay,
C, we don't have any input at all when the consultant's here. We get handed a report. Oh, and by
Okay.
the way,
Danielle. I get it. It's a tough it's a hard topic. It's not, this
No,
is
it's-
not,
My question is that for the economic development money, we have that 193 that we've kind of just been sitting with because we have ideas for it. What were the things that we wanted with that economic
it
development?
was studies that Bill just sent his other memo on. And this wayfinding that now we need to figure out what to do because we're not getting that money.
So, yeah, but do we have any of the, like, our future things that we've been talking about? Is any of that coming out of economic development? Or is all of that public improvements?
all public improvements.
All public improvements?
Where did your money for Packet Landing come out of?
That's what I was.
It's right,
like,
no,
Public
it's like public improvements, yeah.
So I think
We have
the
to look at the
public
work plan
improvement-
too. I mean, that's the thing is this is going a little backwards because we haven't finalized our work plan for next year, but like. This is what just the time for town meeting. I mean, I'm sure I could probably push this back another month, the FY26 budget allocations, if we want to figure out our work plan, but. This is just a precursor look at
Yeah, no, I don't think that's necessary.
and what the marketing contract would be.
I think that we have a lot of things that we can either pull from public improvements or economic development, that we can make the argument either way. Do you guys agree?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So does it matter?
Right.
Like, I think we're arguing, like,
It
we're
doesn't, it
arguing
doesn't.
over.
It doesn't matter in the way that the tourism bucket matters.
No.
For events.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it doesn't, no, it
So-
doesn't matter, but.
If it's gonna
we're all
look
not sitting.
better to keep it at 50,
I don't care.
and
what
we
it is.
can keep it, and we can do the things with public improvement or economic development, because I feel like most of our things could come from either, right? Like, we've talked about signs, we were talking about with wayfinding and
That's
any
gonna
of
go off
that,
track
like,
too, but yes.
no, but I just mean those could come from public improvements or economic development, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So basically what we're saying is that
Who
these
cares?
buckets are
Yeah,
gonna drive our work plan,
That's what they're supposed to be doing. That's
Right.
what they've always, yeah.
as opposed to our work plan driving the bucket allocation. We're gonna do it the way it's supposed to be done.
so I think that if we leave it at 50, then it makes no difference in terms of the things we can do. Right?
We're not beholden to, we've moved money around 1,000 times in the past. We're not
Yeah.
beholden to this, but
That requires a vote of the Board
this
of
is the vote
Selectmen.
of the town meeting, and this is
Right.
what, so.
So you put it in there, just, you're locked in there, is what I'm saying, for $50,000. So you can't move that around to public improvements
No, but I think that a lot of our things,
without going
like,
to the select board, the town meeting.
we end up trying to decide whether they're more public improvement or
Right,
more
so
economic development.
Danielle's trying to say is that we could have called Packet Landing an economic development
No,
project.
I understand,
You know what I mean?
I understand. I just have an
Right?
issue with the
Is that what you're
$50,000.
Exactly, that I think that it's just not as big of a deal, that like if it's gonna be significantly easier, because I agree with Courtney, I think that it will be significantly easier to have it at 50. I don't see it changing anything for us.
We're talking about the allocation. Steve wants to
Okay.
reduce the economic development line, so we're just trying to
Okay.
figure out how we kind of go about this that makes it work for us and others.
Just because we have so much money left over in economic development, like so much.
But my concern is going to town meeting as the economic development committee asking for less NED.
Well, but you have
I know,
you
but
have a substantial balance.
I know, but the town meeting voters don't see that.
Where's the,
They don't see our balances. They
We
just,
worried about,
No, they don't see your balances, but
are we worried about the town meeting voters or are we worried about the board of selectmen?
I'm worried about a lot of things. I'm worried about, but because I don't know what's coming up this town meeting, if we're gonna have to fight again for another special event in town or what, but I will do whatever the committee wants and just prepare my statement. I just wanna make sure that like we're, at least the four of us who are here, I guess, we're all on the same page, and then that going forward, we understand what we wanna do with these funds.
We're not talking about changing what we have here dramatically, right?
No, it's no, but I just wanna make sure the numbers are right and it's fine with everybody. If it goes down to 50 or 30, that's fine. Just tell me where you wanna put the other money. It just needs to equal 520.
so I
Physical
think,
improvements.
so where are you?
Look, Karen, can I ask? a question?
Yeah,
Because
please.
Tony's very concerned.
I'm sorry, I,
No, it's all right. That's what I'm trying to get you looped in here. She's very concerned if she goes before the board of selectmen with a reduced allocation for economic development, that there may be questions as to why you're reducing that. And my retort to that was simply, oh, by the way, we have a lot of
I
money
just don't wanna
in
get,
economic.
the discussion on
Nice.
everything we've been wanting to do but hasn't gotten done. That's not in our hands. I
I
don't
don't
wanna
think
get
that's-
into discussion. I don't wanna do it at a public meeting.
I think, I mean,
If we work on a statement, prepare me, then that's fine, but I wanna make sure I answer
I mean,
appropriately
have you,
without throwing anybody under the bus.
have you talked about the other categories?
Not really. We've just kind of been on. what
So
do we
because,
take?
so I did this little spreadsheet. And this would say, yeah, this is your FY 25 year-to-date available. And I'm not taking like a position either way. I put in 3 different scenarios here, 20%, 30%, and 40% on the
Okay.
public improvement, because you're required by legislation to do a minimum 20% and a maximum of 40%.
That's 208 is the maximum? This is
Yes.
208, okay,
So,
and we're recommending what?
and then I did
How
a
much?
little, just so kind of for information. So looking back at the appropriation history, I took a look. So since 23, we've had to do the allocations as part of the town meeting warrant article.
Mhm.
And so I just looked to see, I wanted to be able to, reflect back on how you've done it in years prior. So even last year, you did add less there in the economic development. I can make this bigger.
So it was 46 last
It
year.
was, yeah, so
Yeah,
in
yeah.
23, you budgeted the 105, 24, 50, and then 46. So you've got your percentages here. Public improvements went from 25 to 30 to 20. I mean, one easier, I don't know if it's easy, a way to think about it is, what are your priorities?
That's what we were saying, though. We
Yeah.
gotta look at the work plan and realize
And-
we're doing this a little backwards.
Yep,
Yeah.
right, and that's why, I mean, I think I
But-
put the work plan in there.
What, the prior year, can you go back to
Yeah.
that chart again? You went from over $100,000 down to $50,000. Was there any questions asked?
That's because we don't have a staff member. For that one?
Yeah.
For
Went from
ET?
$105,000 to $50,000 from 23 to 24 FY.
Because, I think probably because you had a balance in the
That's my point.
thing.
And that's fine. I took the last year's money that we
No,
had.
I'm not trying to get.
I know, Steve, let me just explain my thought process on this.
You,
I was told our total is 520. I knew we
Yes.
wanted to reduce the marketing from 230 or whatever it was last year. I shifted the numbers around to things that I have heard based on what I've heard from this committee in the last several months and what our work plan is on projects we want to work on. That's how I came up with these numbers. I didn't just pull them out of the air.
Mhm.
I heard that we want to do economic development. We want to do a lot more special events. We want to do public improvements, and I tried to adjust those. That's how I came up with these numbers. I'm not beholden to them.
Mhm.
I'm open to what the committee wants to hear, but I just also am prepared
I have a question
for
for
any
Karen.
questions I might get next week.
I have a question
Mm.
for Karen. And first, before I ask my question, I do appreciate the position that you're gonna be put in. That's
Thank
why I'm saying zeroing out an economic development line is not my first choice. So I'm glad we're not gonna do that. You've been talking to Mary. She mentioned 3 big events
Mhm.
that she thinks are coming to town. Shouldn't that be maybe driving our work plan a little bit? And I know that you've allocated more to special events, but should we even think about, like, if second summer cycle is coming and
Mhm.
what's the other one?
The, I don't know, it was one from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I
Through
wasn't clear on
Lanka.
what that was.
Second summer cycle is a big.
That's a big deal.
it's a
It used
big
to be the
event.
last gasp. right?
Yeah,
Right, and it's getting bigger and
Mhm.
it's starting to build in the last couple of years. You know, that's a multi-day event and it's probably gonna need a little bit of help to get off the ground. Maybe we anticipate supporting
Yeah,
that
I think
effort.
kind of the
If
other,
it's not gonna be part of her contract, it's gonna have to come in an event format, because we just talked about the fact
Mhm.
that we don't want the chamber to be running amok. We want them to sort of go in this event silo for some of this other one-off stuff, that the ideas that they
Mhm.
have. So maybe increasing it even further for special events.
That's-
Although, I mean, it's on the heels of us not getting a lot of responses
yeah.
right.
and reissuing. So I
And
mean,
you
I'm,
won't know,
That's
and the warrant goes to print. I think it's healthy to say, so the select board agenda next week that's kind of on the upcoming agenda list is really just the special event thing.
So we can push
Um,
this. part of it.
I think you
January.
might be able to push it a bit. I think, I didn't have a chance to kind of firm that up
No, that's
with,
fine.
with Bob. I think that you have your amount, the 520.
20.
I'm gonna have to fix this isn't. Oh, that's,
so you don't
Let's go
think
back
that
to the
they're
other one.
expecting
This is
Courtney
wrong.
to come in with,
I'm sorry. I don't think they're gonna expect the absolute warrant article.
okay, so they're
In December.
more likely
Yeah.
expecting her to come in with
I
our
think you could
suggestions
do it
on
in
events.
January, come back, talk about special events. You can say that you're working on this, the group's working
the work
on,
plan.
on
The
the
annual report.
allocation. The issue is that you're not gonna get the, you got me confused with the adjacent calendars
know.
up there, Joe.
It goes-
You, like,
It goes left to right,
Yeah.
24, 25.
I cut, yeah, anyway, so, but you're not gonna know what those other events are going to be looking for until February 4th, which is probably too late.
I'm fine.
But we also have $120,000 left over in special events.
Right,
I guess, okay, so because this needs to get on the town meeting warrant and I need to get before the board
Yes.
to do that, I don't wanna be doing it the night of town meeting again and talking about it, cause it's gotta be published anyway.
right.
If we can use our January meeting to look at the work plan and this, and then go in January or February before it's gone to print, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I think it needs to be a tandem discussion though,
Tandem discussion.
and just have it at the same time together. Or like leading up to each other back to back. The work plan
Oh.
and this.
Work plan.
And the
One,
budget.
one other question
That's- it's
that I wanted
better
to ask,
process.
sorry, you go ahead.
No, it's a better process, the work plan.
But I don't-
and the
Why are we waiting?
Well,
I don't think
you
it
do have
matters.
to do them together
It's a-
because you can't.
No, I really don't think it matters. Like,
I-
our.
We're not talking about
economic
dramatic
development
changes.
Money,
No, I know, but
everything
I
that's
don't-
in that work plan,
then somebody
we
make.
can make the argument is economic development or public improvements.
No, I know that, but we need to do a new work plan for 25. There's a lot that needs to be revised. I'm really fine with whatever the committee wants. I really, at this point, do not care. I will represent us and take us to wherever it needs to be. I just need these numbers finalized.
So,
It's really, it's, if you guys don't see any issues and we can use all this other rollover funds and we can move things around, then I literally just needed
so,
to take the 520 and break it up. That's all I
okay,
needed to
so
do.
you just said something too that's valid, so town meeting is when you can move money around. So
Right.
I hadn't thought about this, but you can, so if you have this balance here of 666, 734, you can use town meeting to reallocate those funds if you want, with
Is
the
it a-
exception of the public improvements.
Is it a separate article or is it the same one?
I would suggest not doing that after what I saw last night.
I think we have so much excess in every category
mhm.
that.
This doesn't
if-
matter. That's what I'm
that's-
saying.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
So I think that if this is numbers that we know is gonna go through without anyone making a comment on, we have so much money in every category. Like,
This is just adding on to that. That's all this is
But,
doing.
right, I think you're gonna spend I mean, I think it's probably a safe assumption that you can spend most of this special event
Oh,
money.
yeah.
The marketing and promotion money, that's gonna go too, because we just heard about the sand sculptures.
And I
The
think,
public improvements, I put it in the packet. I put out the ask.
Yep.
Thanks for catching that I had the wrong file name. And I think we will get applications.
and we're
Um,
gonna we need some
Actually
money,
do look at the
some
packet.
crazy
I'm-
money for that public improvements when we get asked about, the, the gravestone thing.
Right,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
monument.
We're
which
gonna need
is-
some crazy money and
Yeah.
that is gonna be some serious cash.
Yeah.
And I guess in addition to that, where I was coming, to loop back around what I said a few moments ago, is I think to get more, where I'm always coming from is how can we leverage our dollars to get more dollars? Well, the CIP program that's funded out of the tax levy, if we use some of our dollars and hook up with some of those projects, then we're gonna blow through this money. That's where I was
Right.
coming from. So that's why I was suggesting that we move.
I
I
understand,
know you understand
I
that.
have
I
a-
just wanted to
I
get it
have
out
a-
there.
I have a
We can't-
reallocation suggestion.
go for it.
Let's take 20 out of economic development and put 10 each into special events and public improvements.
Fine for
So
that.
what did you have for numbers, Courtney?
Fine.
Oh,
Um,
Danielle, check my math.
So it's 135.
I think you're
But
good with
I-
10,000.
This is what it would be.
I think too. I would like to ask the question, this was the other question I didn't get to ask today. You have $78,000 in the administration line. And we don't have a person yet. I don't know kind of the current status. So I think you could make a case of not allocating money because you have
Okay.
a healthy balance there.
I,
Okay,
fine with that.
if we don't have to allocate, then then.
Fine with that.
So then you had
So
125, Joe, what were you?
So I have a suggestion, real
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
If you are not doing that 15, you
Right.
take 5 away from
That's fine.
economic development.
fine.
We still have the 20 that Joe just said with that 15.
right,
That's fine.
And so we've added 10,000 to special events and added 10,000 to public
this isn't a
improvements.
competition. or-
I'm okay.
You don't have to
That's
wanna-
fine.
I'm good
So
with
it's 135 for events and public improvements, 50 for ED.
Mm.
Okay.
that. No.
And
That's fine.
Okay, but I have,
what are you
50.
going with for
She
I have a
the,
question. If we get rid of the bucket,
Is the bucket gone?
is the bucket gone forever or
No.
it's just reappear?
no, these are
We have a
special
bucket.
funds. You're just not appropriating additional
So
funds
that
into
begs the
that
question, is
bucket.
there another bucket that we would like to see?
Thank God our attendee's gone.
Oh, he's downstairs.
Right,
No,
No.
nothing else. I think those are broad categories. Those are-
Yeah,
I think they're
broad
very broad
categories.
categories.
Yeah.
So under this scenario, so I've got the $20,000 column here. Let me make it bigger.
I'll think of a bucket.
Do you
All right, so
want
that's
to
good.
add the delta that would get you to the 520 to the public improvement?
Yes,
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna make a circular,
50. 135, 135. 70. 520.
It was the 6 at
what,
the
did
end.
I have a wrong thing?
Oh,
Oh,
It's the equal in the middle.
thanks. Totally typing and looking at the big screen.
That's fair.
There we go. Oh, it's slightly off. Why isn't it?
that's all. You
Oh, the
you figure it
6.
out.
Yeah, I got,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know. where it's
thank
going.
you.
Yeah.
So now you have a proposed allocations.
But
Okay, do we need a motion on this?
you need a
Danielle's
motion,
right
Karen?
there. Oh, she is.
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
take a
wow.
motion
You would or you
if,
would?
I would.
You would? Okay.
If you, but look, can I ask you guys a question? So,
Yeah.
are you sure about these? Is this what you want to put? Or do you want to call it tentative and have conversation about your work plan?
I think we just heard that we don't need to do that. I think didn't we just decide that the work plan can just be used for whatever? I don't know. I think our work plan needs to be looked at again, because there's things that we have dropped off, things that are not gonna happen. And things that we might want to do coming up that aren't on there, but I don't care how it all works out.
Yes, so your suggestion, wait till we do.
No, I don't think we wait,
I don't.
because whatever the work plan's gonna be, it's gonna fit into this. We're not
You-
talking about.
You are, so doing that, this is what it would look like
However it works out is fine by
going
me.
forward. So special events. What did we just say? No, because oh, thanks. Daniel.
We're good. This,
Didn't,
have a lot of
did we
work to
bump
do.
that one up
No,
or?
we didn't touch marketing.
Oh, I thought we, okay.
This is 200. Yeah, I know, yeah.
Oh, shit. Maybe
50.
130.
You did
It's,
50.
it's just in a different
Okay, it's in a
order.
different
yeah.
sequence. And then public improvements was
135.
about right. So
Yeah.
now your numbers, your special events stay approximately the same. It goes down a little bit, but you also, your total appropriation went down.
Mhm.
Marketing is slightly lower.
But higher than it had been previously.
Mhm.
Yeah, you went up on the ED and you went up on the PI.
because we were thinking that the PI, the solicitation that you just put out,
Mhm.
they've already been rejected by this committee once previously because they didn't do what we had asked.
Mhm.
Presumably they'll do what we had asked this time around, and we will want to fund a lot of that stuff.
I emphasized today, we actually had a department head meeting today, and so I reminded people that I had sent this email out and that they should bring things that are tied to another plan.
Perfect. Perfect.
And I think that
Right.
a lot of these things that we may see again are things that were in the capital budget improvement plan.
Good.
And things that are, you know, what's different now too is the open space and recreation plan is actually adopted. It's not just in the works,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
some of those signage plans are tieable. If you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep. Good.
so,
And I don't remember what Bob
Well,
Kelly,
yep,
what he was, I just want to, can you just give me a figure that?
yep,
I
it
don't
was
have in
about,
my head?
it was about $230,000 was the whole nut. You guys approved, so, and I'll give you a little update, and that's why I'm keeping an eye on the clock, because they are in front of the select board tonight as well.
Who?
Bob Kelly and David
Oh, good.
Giancopoulos
Yep.
from the
Location.
Markers for the cemetery.
historical, the
monument.
historical commission with a recommended location of the Yarmouthport Playground, also known as Thatcher Park.
Nice.
And,
Which there are a couple of other war memorials there. I just saw them the other day.
sorry?
There's
Yeah, there's a
of other-
couple of like,
smaller
like
ones.
individual monuments and a descriptive one. I think it's a good site. It makes sense.
Mhm.
But, we may not even need the full $25,000 for the design. We're trying to fold that into the RFP. And that work may, if it's a simple monument, it may not really be that much money. In which case, I think that the Historical Commission, Bob Kelly, will come back and ask to
Allocate
reallocate
it.
that bit of
That's fine.
funding and
Get
at
more.
some point have funding for the actual work,
Markers.
the monument,
Yeah,
the markers you already approved.
All right, sorry.
Um,
Yeah, so that's good. The physical improvement is bumped.
It's gonna be a lot, but we already have a ton left
Balance,
over in that
balance.
one too.
Yep. Well, I think
For now.
you'll see a good amount coming in for the department heads hopefully.
That's, yeah, like, it's a good thing that we have the
And-
balance.
In absence of that, there's still that CIP program that may not be even applicable to department heads. That could be something else out there that we can look at. So you can
exactly.
get that for us.
Yep, there's other things.
Yeah.
I still need to make a motion on this.
We'll just update
Got
your memo.
distracted.
Yeah, I updated it. I'll send it to you. again for-
already.
Yeah, I'll just-
Yes.
Yes, I
I'll send it to you for review.
Okay.
Send it, 'cause I gotta
You
have it
just
here.
check the exact number,
It's someone else.
which I'll need to.
Get a
So
fix.
do I
motion.
have to say like
Fix
each
these.
number and their,
Did you go through the Grayfield stuff?
No, we
We
just.
got a motion.
Too.
Okay.
I need a second. Are you putting forward a motion or?
Danielle's working on the motion.
what do I have to
Just say,
say?
I move to allocate FY 26 as proposed in the memo.
Okay, so I don't have to say each
No.
number.
No,
Do you want her to?
No,
I do.
but with, so this was 200. 50
135.
and 135.
I make a motion to approve.
Just read them.
Okay. I make a motion to approve 135,000 for special events, 200,000 for marketing, 50,000 for economic development, 135, 935, 73 for public improvements.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, okay. What,
Are you leaving again?
What else did you do?
we didn't do it, we literally just, it's just in that,
Okay,
and yeah, that's it.
so you did that with Alex.
Annual report is fine, we'll just make sure that's good to go.
Okay, it sounds like you looked at the calendar 25 schedule
Nope.
that had the work plan attached.
No, we just know that
So-
we need to talk about the work.
In your packet, you had this package, which for your convenience, I wrote out all of the
Not- not one.
dates for this is
Thank
the
you.
second Tuesday. You will need to reschedule your November 11 meeting.
Yeah.
Because that's a holiday. And then upcoming, this is something, so this is what I've been doing to keep track, but I thought I'd share. Just upcoming meetings. So here we are, CEDC on 12/10. Here's the items that we've talked about tonight. I did not get to getting you all the materials for the marketing contract, as we discussed last time. The idea being, we're gonna talk about marketing in January. And you wanna have a look at all the old RFP, the old proposal and whatnot. I also reached out to Lori Sullivan,
Mhm.
who's our communications person, to see if she'd help kind of have
Oh,
a look,
nice.
and I'm happy to invite her in if you think it would be helpful.
Okay,
But I think you need to think about what it is you want to buy with the marketing
yeah,
money.
Oh, Lori, you should definitely come and talk to us, I think, because this radio ad that we've spent money on now.
On the jingle,
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, it needs a co-op program, like, so we need to fund something. I don't know if it's through the chamber or
I
not.
don't know what a co-op program
It's like
is.
when you, like, let's say you're a Saab dealer and you sell Saabs,
Yeah,
right? So you can get television time where you don't have to pay for the whole ad. Saab will pay for the beginning and the end of the ad, and you just put your come down to see Crazy Dave in the middle of the Saab
Okay.
ad. So it defrays the cost of the business owner advertising their business on our
Okay.
behalf. Right? So Yarmouth businesses could avail themselves of a co-op program to use the jingle to help defray some of their radio costs,
okay.
right?
I'm not sure I fully understand. Maybe we can talk about it.
If the radio ad costs $50,
Yeah,
we pay $25 of that $50 if they use our jingle at the front and the back of their radio ad.
so we're buying additional
Marketing?
advertising
Right. So I don't know where that
With-
fits.
with what?
I mean,
Well, with
Money.
what funding?
right, so
He's saying for the marketing.
Economic development.
Something, that's what he.
Okay,
as part of the marketing contract or part of the marketing
Okay,
bucket,
thank
or
you.
the allocation that we just put forth,
yep.
we do have some money that we could spend on a program like this. I'm just trying to say,
Mhm.
we've already spent money on a jingle and then we're not gonna get the most out of it.
Right,
potentially.
but Mary, I don't know if, did Mary talk much about it? So
I didn't see anything about a co-op program in here.
she's written a proposal of how they would like to use it.
Right,
I've talked to council and they've given me a template and we'll work on it for the license agreements so that the town owns the jingle.
right.
I think we want to think about whether we want to buy more things like that.
Like what?
Like the
I-
jingle.
I
Do we really want
Oh.
to be in the jingle business?
Right, that, I mean,
Um,
I don't disagree with
Okay.
that, but we do now own a jingle is my
Yeah.
point.
Okay. Okay,
yeah.
so have Lori in
Yeah.
if she's
Yeah, Laura's,
available.
I mean, I'd love
Okay,
to
great.
meet her anyway.
You know, because
Okay.
if I'm a restaurant owner and I'm gonna spend $5,000 on radio ads and I don't have to spend $5,000. I can spend $2,500
Yeah.
on radio ads, but it's gonna
And-
be bookended with the Yarmouth taglines on it.
Yeah.
That works for both, I
Okay.
think. That's
But
how
I-
I've seen it done in the past with.
And you're waiting for
Okay.
the license agreement, you said?
I have a draft
Oh, you have a
license
draft,
agreement. I was waiting for the proposal, which I just got.
Yeah, it's.
So this. I just attached to this and I have paper copies. I couldn't help myself today. If anybody wants them, this is the memo that was attached to the work plan. So that I'm happy to give it to everybody and you can have a gander if you wanna in advance of working on it.
So that's the one that we already did, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Can you, is it possible for you to rotate that just quickly and I would just,
Oh, you don't have to. I have it. I'm trying to prolong this meeting, sorry.
where's the rotation?
Up there. On the,
view, it's under view, it's under view, it's under
View.
view, rotate.
Let me go down
Page.
to, let me go down to the appropriate pages. Sorry. Okay, now I'll go to
there
view.
you go.
And
Top one.
thank you.
That's been done.
That one was done. The vacant storefront
In
facade
progress.
program in progress.
I think we stick, no, we'll
Oh,
talk
go
about
ahead.
this later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broadband infrastructure
In progress.
in progress.
And we already got the money. Actually, no, that's done.
That one's done.
Yeah. That one's done.
Pickleball courts.
I think we need to,
Event.
for
We need to look at
2025, we need
the-
to expand on that.
Yeah,
Well, we need to look at the study to see what we have, because this is where the pickleball
the
court.
field analysis.
Right,
Well,
that's where this
hopefully
got
it covers
stuck.
courts.
It
I
does,
haven't, okay,
And that's where this got stuck.
yep.
Okay,
And then wayfinding,
that needs.
which we can
Mm,
talk about.
yeah.
And
That's fine.
that's in progress.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
kind of like a
It's
perpetual one.
ongoing.
Mass development resources.
That can be, I mean, we can always keep looking out
Right.
for grants.
Yeah.
Have to be
Yeah.
mass development specific.
I mean, these are good.
That
The
one's dropping off.
website is still a good one. Route 28 corridor.
We kind of got an update.
that was
sort
the
of,
study
maybe.
that we got a report back on,
Yeah,
So that's done. We're not spending any more money on that. Right?
That's it.
and that's it.
Where's Packet Landing?
It wasn't in there.
I think it was
Under mass development
yeah.
resources.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Areas
It
of
is right there.
focus.
Packet
So that
Landing.
needs to be added in for. So yeah, so we'll look at this in January.
yeah, so we can add some new fun stuff to that, right?
So then. Grayfields, can I give you guys?
Yes.
I want to give you some paper. Because you're gonna
Great.
need it.
See, what brand of sweatshirt is that?
I know, I like it. We're gonna have to look at the tag.
I know, I'm
You're gonna have to look at.
Really?
like a Marlin something, right?
It's a little bit inappropriate.
Marley, I can see.
You can
see,
Over.
So this is
give me
just,
some names up there. It's
this is Mary's old email or old memo on the Affordable Housing Trust Grayfield program. I just gave you that as a summary. You can read back about what they were looking to do. Then I have put together an inventory form, which I can send to you electronically in Word. So you can complete it. Thought it was a simple, and it really is kind of an inventory. Just the address, the map and lot, current use or the business, is it vacant? I thought that might be a good piece of information for us to collect. Contact information, if you know it, potential for housing, potential for facade improvement. And so it's just a Word document and it's set up so you can type all you want. in here.
This is a result of your conversation with Mary?
This is a follow-up to our conversation about doing
And then on
the
this
gray
page,
field.
the great,
coming
we're
up
looking
with
at, so we're trying to kill
recommendations.
two birds with one stone here.
Yes,
Facade improvement.
I know, but I came back to this committee with some updated information after a conversation that I had with Mary. And her telling me that this is not what she wanted us to do. She didn't want us to go down knocking doors along Route 28.
We're
not asking
finding
you to knock.
properties.
We're
You're-
taking a street view look at what might be potential good places.
you're having a look,
Yeah, to come back.
Okay, so we're just identifying possible
right,
Mhm.
places that might be
needles in the
good.
haystack.
And then on the back page, you have your assignments.
Okay.
Okay.
This is for housing, right?
This is for him.
Okay.
It's for mixed use housing.
She indicated, the impression I got was that she wanted to be much more selective, but I'll do my assignment.
I think it's a good assignment.
Okay.
They've had this out
Um,
for a year and a half.
right,
haven't
and they
gotten
got-
anything.
They
Right.
don't
They
have
can't be
anything, so,
selective.
and I just think it's good.
I asked
It's
her
good.
that too. and
Yeah.
She said zero response.
So everybody has like, it's basically a 0.82 or something stretch on Route 28.
How many steps is that?
I don't know. It shouldn't, I bet you it's 1,700.
And we're
So,
just going through and finding the businesses that were like, that could benefit from.
that could be a good candidate. Where do you think a mixed use, like housing development might work?
934, 28.
And I think that you should also reconsider, I think we can have that conversation about the facade improvement
That's
again.
what I was asking, of how much we're
You know,
looking at
just
that.
if
for
you're
as well.
looking at places and you see some place that really benefit from a new roof or a new deck or
Flowers.
a new door. Something permanent.
Did we ever arrive at any sort of framework for that facade program that we?
No, I got an opinion from council that had concern about using the tourism money for that purpose. So, I think we just need to dig deeper on the question and the answer and how can we use
Okay, so
tourism
then
money?
we're not gonna be doing
I-
that.
I know, I don't want to delay the meeting any longer either, but if this is not a priority of the administration and or the board of selectmen facade improvement program, I suggest we not
Okay.
waste any time on it.
Okay, so we'll still do this to help the rest of the housing.
Just do for the housing.
Okay.
So just,
Because Bill Scott, I think he referenced somewhere in here that he got a grant $100,000.
no, I got a grant.
You got a grant for $100,000 to do
That's right, you did.
mixed use development. Congratulations.
It's to do an analysis of why don't we get mixed use development?
I love that.
So,
Because that's what we want,
So-
but we're not getting it.
so does that
And why
tie
not?
into what we would be doing here? So it
It
does.
can. This is like more,
So I guess what
I
I'm trying to do is
understand.
marry up the two together.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the grant, by the
What are
way.
you gonna do? with
thanks,
it?
it's all, it's,
I wish we'd known about it.
well, yeah, we've had it for a while. There's been confusion.
What are you gonna do with it?
I'm gonna use the scope that was in the grant and put it out to bid. And get somebody to come and do the analysis. We need to know about the finances. Why doesn't it work? And what are the land constraints? Why isn't mixed use working?
Mm-hmm.
So we have all this zoning, maybe our zoning needs to be tweaked more. So
Do we allow mixed use in all of 28?
we don't allow mixed use. We allow mixed use mostly in the Village Center Overlay District, which is Parker's River to like the church. I don't know if you want these. I always find this very helpful
Yes.
for drawing your potential ideas out. These are the assessor's maps that 11, they're in 11 by 17. It was fairly legible. The 8.5 by 11 was impossible to read. But I'm happy to share these with you if you want to mark up on here, or if you want Word versions, or I can make you copies, whatever you want on your notes on the inventory exercise.
I'll take a copy.
I
You
like
wanna take
paper.
a copy?
I'll take copy too. please.
Thank you.
Oh, fun, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's fun with coloring
Thank you.
pencils and it's like a planner thing. You don't want one, Joe?
I don't.
Okay,
I'm gonna use my Google Earth. Cool.
All right, is there,
Question about my assignment.
Hmm.
It says my landmark is east side of intersection,
What's it say to the left of that?
Higgins Fall Road.
Okay.
So,
You go to the east side of the intersection.
eyes, okay, now I understand. Well, I didn't know if it was a landmark for the start or the finish. Oh, now I know.
Well, you can go either way.
I'm gonna be trying.
East to west or
I'm
west
gonna
to
be in
east?
everyone's area. Can't stop me.
If you want to be an overachiever, you go for it.
I do not. I'm gonna achieve just the right amount.
so. Is that everything? I think
A little,
that's-
I apologize for
No, you,
being in and out.
no, you're good.
So,
I have a committee member update.
Yes.
We're gonna do that. So Karen, you got some emails from Brian at BSC.
yep, Brian Nation.
Yeah, he says he has a previous relationship with you. You guys have worked with him before on the packet landing project prior. So he gave an indication of what it's gonna cost to create a plan.
Was it in there?
Yeah. He said up to 3,000. Our fee estimate is 3,000 including expenses, but we'll propose it based upon time and materials as a not to exceed amount.
Okay.
I told him that we were hoping that we'd be able to take it before the select board on the 17th.
We don't know.
Okay, so tell me what we don't know. Because I know a lot about it.
Well, you can move it forward. I'm saying it's, so, and I know I said, oh, maybe we can, if, I asked you for an update.
Yep.
For this purpose. I'll ask Bob if there's room on the agenda. I know it's mostly about the special events. It might be a better fit when we go
Work plan.
with the work plan
Okay.
and the budget,
Perfect.
is all I'm thinking.
So just to let you know, I've reestablished contact with all of the vendors that I identified for this particular project. And before we talk about procurement issues,
Right.
each one of the components of this project is under $10,000.
Okay, well, I think that we should have a conversation outside of the meeting.
Happy to do it.
The memo that Bill Scott shared with us, we didn't talk about it tonight, so can we talk about it as part of our next meeting?
The,
In terms of,
The email?
the,
yeah,
yeah,
this one on,
response to
it-
the email.
yeah, well, instead of him coming before us and talking, we asked him to write something and
He writes like he talks.
can we talk about that vis-a-vis our program, our projects for next year?
Yep.
And
I think in particular, I'd like your feedback on the wayfinding, because we had a conversation, Bill and I, and he mentions it in the memo, where he had brought up an idea. And that was one of the reasons I wanted, kind of an update, because the committee signed off on Kyle's original proposal of doing an inventory on the signage and coming up with kind of a design for, a broad signage plan that we could implement. And Bill's come up with a different idea that might be more doable with just the $55,000.
The kiosks?
The kiosks, and I just,
But-
I didn't feel like it was I
Yeah.
didn't want to change direction without
No.
talking to the committee that funded the project.
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
I feel strongly about that. I don't like it.
I don't like the kiosk.
Um,
either. I don't think they're
The
gonna be
motor,
used.
the rationale behind how a kiosk at the beach would work is odd. And I think that as the Economic Development Committee, I know that Community and Economic Development Committees are charged. We had, and this gets back to the solicitation that you just issued for physical improvement from department heads. We got a lot of responses back on signs that we said no, because we've got a larger plan in the works. So now that we don't have a larger plan in the works, maybe we were
Yes.
in the position to consider these other suggestions. Assuming that we can sort of force them into a place where it ties the brand somehow together.
Agreed.
You know, where we're
Agreed.
not doing a town-wide signage program, but we're doing a signage program that's going to ultimately end up in everyone kind of looking like they're related, as opposed to how it is right now. So in my mind, you know, White's Path is not identified really well. The whole area over Ansel Hallett is not
Mhm.
identified really well. If I'm an economic development committee, signage over there, especially when we're talking about the muck maybe and moving
Mhm.
interest in that direction in town, we should probably start to drive some businesses into those areas. We looked at White's Path
Mhm.
a couple of different
I always
times.
wanted the town facilities to have some kind of consistency.
Mhm.
With, the golf courses or
Mhm.
the town buildings, that kind of thing.
I mean, it's a
So, but
hodgepodge
And
of
that's where,
epic
so,
proportions.
and I'm glad we're having this part of the conversation. I mean, we should discuss the full memo back,
Yeah,
but with the wayfinding, and kind of the feedback I'm getting, I'll go back through the materials to see what the kind of the cost estimates were. We did have,
It was like.
it was a
historic,
total of
the beaches,
$100,000. And I don't know what we could do for 55. If you guys wanted to make it a project and you want to throw more money at it, then we can make it a project. Do it. And I think we should do what the committee wants. We do our best to coordinate.
But like to dovetail to what Danielle was saying before, if we did some signage for White's Path, let's say, that could be an economic development
Agreed.
project, right? It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be a
I
physical
understand.
improvement project.
Yeah.
You know? So the beach kiosk thing, I don't,
no.
You just
You
didn't
know-
tie into anything else. You just,
If we were in Truro or Wellfleet or a town that didn't have internet at their beaches, I would get it. I just don't,
I mean, we've got a public art committee now. I
yeah.
would rather see the kiosks at the beaches be a public art project. That to me makes a hell of a lot more sense than the economic development committee putting a kiosk where someone's gonna look at it and go, oh, I'm gonna go to Seafood Sam's. Glad I didn't have to look at my phone. Not
Yeah, I
seeing
just have a
that.
lot of questions on the kiosks. I just have a lot of questions and I'm just not. Yeah,
No, and I don't think, I haven't discussed it with Mary Bilbon either, so.
yeah, so
I-
that was the, when Mary's here, she
you know.
wants a quarterly meeting with us, which we said
Great.
is more than fine.
awesome.
That's
Part
what's
of our
required part of your
contract.
contract, so we'd love that. So moving forward, we're gonna.
You know, like if all of our beaches had like a thematic, like wind sculpture on them that sort of made
Yeah, like
some
at the-
sound in the breeze,
Mhm.
like,
I love those, the comedic art.
right,
Love it.
you know, like we could do a lot more with
Like
that,
at
I
the
think.
aquarium, love those.
Okay,
Excuse
so yeah, I think definitely having Bill and that memo come back is.
no, just
So-
rephrase that. Just the memo is fine.
So then,
Or just,
Yeah,
just a memo, but. we're
well,
just
so
gonna
you
get
have
this-
a memo.
But we need, he needs to come sit with us. We have questions, we're not getting answers, we're getting responses in 80-page format. I'll keep pushing it. At this point,
But-
I will keep pushing it.
Yeah,
He
and it
needs to
may
come
be,
sit with us.
he makes the suggestion in the memo
That we meet
that if-
individually with him one-on-one.
that if
He
you want
meets
to
during
go.
the day. Wants to meet during the day.
And that's
I know you
fine.
guys work.
Uh,
I can meet with him.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
if we wanna do that and have some sort of designate a assistant town administrator liaison from the
benefit
committee, I'm
from it.
happy to do that, where we've, but I just,
It's,
this going around and around and getting memos after the fact, at the end of the year, before the holidays, when people are out, not giving us time to respond,
You know, for
not
2
giving us
weeks.
time to look at them beforehand,
it's
just
a
not.
medical reason.
No, I know, but it's,
Yeah,
but
it's
we get
just-
the thing, like you said, dropped in our lap at the last minute. I'm going out the door. 2
And
weeks
with things
ago,
in it that
next
haven't
year.
come to before us
I
before.
mean, that's a
this
slap
was-
in the face. That's like a big middle finger to us.
I think this is
Right?
what I was
That's
trying
why
to
I
get,
take it.
well, yeah, but what I was trying to get earlier was that like this idea of kiosk coming to us now in a memo, when it's a discussion that somebody we're supposed to be meeting with quarterly and this administration has had, but we haven't had, I just like that, I don't like that for us. So I just, however if we need to meet with them, I mean, if I need to come in on a Monday or during my lunch or whatever, I can do it, but I think we have a lot to start 2025 off with.
Yeah, we do. The only other update I wanted to bring to the committee's attention was, and Courtney, you probably know more about this than I do, is that the Cape and the Islands have been designated as seasonal communities under the Homes Act, and that carries with it certain
Cookies.
things, but we're not really entirely certain what that's gonna carry with it in terms of allocation of resources.
Mhm.
But it dovetails with this whole other muck conversation, and this is why I think Bill was trying to get the pre-study done and accepted, because it prioritizes housing as a big driver for the next 5 years. There's $5 billion, and we're set up, they're telling us that they want to help us. And both of our senior House and Senate representatives have been appointed to the council. And how that's gonna manifest, we don't know yet necessarily, but it's going to happen. Like people like Christy Senatori are on this council, not Rob Brennan, maybe
I'm pretty sure Peter Lombardi. from
Peter
Brewster,
Lombardi
yeah.
from Brewster.
He's appointed as
exactly.
the MMA representation.
There's a couple of others.
Town manager.
Town
So-
manager in Brewster.
There'll be people looking to take advantage of this designation to try to finally deal with some of this crisis talk around. Wanted to make sure that we
Yeah.
stay, I'm gonna be paying attention to it. I just wanted to let you guys know.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good one to keep on.
That's great.
Are there any other committee member updates?
No, it was a good meeting.
I think that's. You have anything, right, Karen? You gotta get down.
I'm good.
Well, that's okay. I think we kind of touched on all yours, I think.
No, I think we got it all. It was a lot of stuff.
Well,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Nay.
You sleeping on?
You're still outvoted.
Yeah.
I know.
There.
Thank you all for your discussion tonight. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, happy holidays. See.
Have fun in Florida.
Thank
Oh,
you.
will we see you in January?